It's so weird when you see like a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced.
No.
In that.
No. And no one cares that now she's dealing with chickens. It's like, all right,
You're a normal $450 million person.
And by the way, I guarantee you she's
Who's
worth
taking
a
care
lot
of her
more.
chickens? I guarantee, what's that? You guarantee what?
She's worth a lot more than $450 million.
Her art alone.
And like those talk show hosts.
The Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a bitch. And then we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show.
What was it like meeting Ellen? And is she a good person?
Let's just all go back to 2017, where I was the first person to call Ellen out before anyone else.
You called her out?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show, and the world blew up about it and was like so mad at me about it. And then someone else said it, and then it was like, oh my God, Ellen's so nice. Yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, guys, listen up, because you won't believe who's teaming up to drag Ellen DeGeneres into the light. It's none other than Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly. Yep, these two media powerhouses are not holding back. And what they're exposing? It's not just about Ellen's cute dance moves or those feel-good moments on daytime TV. Oh no, this is juicier, messier, and honestly, absolutely hilarious. If you thought the world of daytime talk shows was tame, sit tight. We're about to dive into the real chaos behind the curtain.
People, you're accomplished, you're a comedian, you did the whole thing. What you're not allowed to do is have a Guantanamo Bay situation in the backstage of your show where everybody's walking around afraid for their life, and it's like Abu Ghraib where they're hooked up to wires and they
Dogs
have like
around them.
Yeah, she's got dogs and hoods. If an intern's late, they have a hood on. I don't support that.
And Ellen had blown her off. And then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim. And she says, for me, and she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood.
Why do you say she's not nice?
I can't explain it. It was
Just
just
an
really
energy?
weird. I ran into her like backstage. It was like an awkward thing, and like the producers were really scared. I was like, what's going on? They were like, that was not supposed to happen. We're gonna get in trouble. It was like so weird. She was like, hey. It was like, I was like, oh hi. Like I was like, I'm so excited. And she was like,
So here's the thing. Ellen has always been painted as the ultimate nice girl, the queen of kindness, the one who delivers heartwarming speeches and dances her way into our hearts. But you know that moment when someone seems too perfect, too squeaky clean, and you start wondering, wait, is that real? That's exactly where Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly come in, poking at that shiny, flawless image.
Scared of spiders? No, we're not. I don't care to get over my fear. If I just hold it? No. If I just I actually have a real problem looking at it. Why? Let me know when it's gone. It sounds like, don't play with my phone. How was the party? I wasn't invited. Actually, no, that's not the truth. You were invited. Talk about your time in prison. I didn't go to prison. But I don't want to. I don't want to.
Hey, was Michael B. Jordan there? I know he's dating your daughter now. So was he sharing Christmas with you?
Yeah.
Look at that. That's happening in front of you?
I've never seen that picture before. Very uncomfortable with that picture right there. I'm not really feeling that.
Pregnant.
Don't discuss that.
All right, well, you don't have to answer.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you don't have to answer me. Let's just toast with champagne and decide. Yeah, you want to taste it?
I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen.
What? I'm not going to ask you if you're pregnant or
This
not.
is peer pressure. You see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
My goodness.
Cheers.
It's too early for me. I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when he described Ellen's reputation. He basically said that behind the scenes, it wasn't all rainbows and cupcakes. Joe compared it to a total mess backstage, where people were walking on eggshells, scared for their lives, like it was some chaotic high-pressure zone. He pointed out how article after article started popping up, calling Ellen a and labeling her as a nasty boss. That be kind vibe, Joe's making it sound real forced.
It's like a beautiful name, Isis.
Ellen's rough. That's
Ellen
a
is
rough
like
one.
an old.
But it's a rough one now.
It's a rough one now because she was running Abu Ghraib in the back of her show. That's a rough one. She's out there dancing with Kristen Bell, and in the back, there's people that are getting up on the rack like this.
It's so weird when you see, like, a lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character.
The Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a and everybody, whoa,
Yeah.
can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was. My buddy Greg, who was one of her writers, was like, she's a piece of shit. And he was like, she's a monster.
And get this, Megyn Kelly jumped right in too. She was all about breaking through that celebrity PR fluff and exposing what's underneath. Together, these two weren't just casually gossiping. They were digging deep, asking the tough questions. One major moment they spotlighted, that awkward Dakota Johnson birthday party exchange. You remember, right? Ellen sat there on her show acting all hurt, saying, "Why didn't you invite me to your birthday?" But Dakota shot right back saying, Ellen, I did invite you. Yikes? Ellen apparently bailed, and then tried to flip the script playing the victim on camera. That messy little back and forth, it unleashed a flood of headlines, with people calling Ellen out for not being the sweet person she claimed to be.
She was said to be a nasty bitch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out.
When was your birthday?
It was October 4th.
October 4th. You turned 30.
I did.
And how was the party? I wasn't invited.
Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen. You were invited. Last time I was on the show, last year, you gave me a bunch of shit about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited.
Well, who doesn't want to be invited to a party?
Well, I didn't even know you liked me.
Of course I like you. You knew I liked you. You've been on the show many times, and don't I show like? Yeah.
But I did invite you and you didn't come. So.
This time you invited me?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know? I don't think so.
Ask everybody. Ask Jonathan, your producer. Who said you were?
I was invited? Why didn't I go?
I don't know.
Was it? Oh yeah, I had that thing.
Let me tell you, Joe and Megyn are not here for petty gossip. They're here to crack open the truth, peeling back the layers of Ellen's brand and showing the world that maybe, just maybe, nice doesn't always mean nice. So let's break this down, starting with Joe Rogan. You know Joe, right? His podcast is basically like a giant cultural microscope. Nothing, and I mean nothing, slips past his radar. So of course even Ellen, the untouchable poster child of daytime TV, wasn't safe. Joe's whole vibe was like, wait a second, how does this whole nice gal image line up with all the messy whispers about what's really happening backstage? And trust me, Joe's got this sixth sense when it comes to sniffing out when a celebrity's PR image doesn't add up. As for Megyn, she even shared a story from someone she personally knows, someone whose sister worked for Ellen. And get this, the sister claimed you weren't even allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls. Like seriously? No eye contact? That doesn't exactly scream kindness, does it? So it's no surprise she points out that Ellen eventually got canceled.
I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls.
But here's the kicker, she's now making a comeback. She's got a Netflix special and Joe's not buying the narrative. According to him, people who've seen previews of the special are saying Ellen is now playing the victim. And Joe's not here for that poor me comeback angle.
So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim. And she says, poor me. And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with $100 million in her pocket.
$450 million, according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
But don't get it twisted. Joe's not just tossing around petty gossip here. Now he's doing full-on cultural digging, unearthing all the dirt people have been whispering about for years. He's talking about a workplace that wasn't fun or loving, but tense, toxic, and super controlled. The kind where you smile on the outside because, well, your paycheck depends on it. Imagine that. The same Ellen who made the whole world want to dance to Pharrell's Happy, now being described as the boss who created an environment that felt anything but happy. Joe painted this sharp, almost painful contrast, one that makes you go, yikes, how did we miss this? On screen, Ellen's message of kindness looked one way, but behind the scenes, yeah, not so much. Joe compared it to watching a Hallmark movie that suddenly takes a horror twist, except you just can't turn it off. But here's where Joe took things even bigger. He wasn't just focusing on Ellen as one person. He was calling out this larger trend, the kind of celebrity who turns kindness into a brand, slaps it onto everything, and expects us to swallow the fairy tale without asking any questions. Joe called it out for what it was, the brand kindness problem. When the public image and the private reality are so far apart, people are bound to get hurt, and Joe wasn't shy about saying it. And it gets juicier. Joe even brought up the writer's strike. He pointed out how dirty it is when someone crosses the picket line, and guess who, according to him, allegedly did it? Yep, Ellen. Joe said he had a buddy who was working on her show, and that person claimed everybody kind of knows who Ellen really is behind the scenes. Joe summed it up perfectly. It's another one of those I'm so nice, I'm so sweet acts that totally falls apart once you peek behind the curtain.
Have they made progress with the strike?
They're picketing right now, so I think it's the early stages. I would think it might take a little bit with this one.
When someone crosses the writer's strike, that's some dirty shit. Do they cross the picket line?
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody doing that yet.
I think Ellen did. I had a buddy of mine who was writing on Ellen. Everybody kind of knows now what she's really all about. And that's another one of those. It's like, I'm so nice and I'm so sweet. Mean behind the scenes. The Ellen situation.
Yeah.
You know, people found out that Ellen was mean and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a and everybody, wow, I can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in a half an hour on a television show is not really who she was.
Yep.
You know, but I had already known that because I had a buddy who worked for her. Like, he was like, she's a monster.
Yeah.
Her house got broken into while she was at home. My buddy Greg, who was one of the writers, was like, she's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I didn't know enough to be surprised.
You're allowed to be a. What you're not allowed to do, if an intern's late, they have a hood on, she's got dogs and hoods. I don't support that.
So you might be thinking, dang, that's already a lot of heat on Ellen. But oh no, that's only half the story. Enter Megyn Kelly, and let me tell you, she came for Ellen from a totally different angle, but just as brutal. While Joe Rogan was busy tearing down Ellen's public image, Megyn Kelly went straight for the throat, the corporate throat to be exact. She didn't just look at Ellen, the personality. She zoomed in on Ellen's whole empire. We're talking lawsuits, employee complaints, claims of toxic working conditions, all that stuff you never hear about in those glossy magazine interviews or cutesy daytime TV segments.
I have a question for you on this. This is perfect for you. Because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty bitch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Kelly didn't bother with pleasantries. She cut right to the core, connecting the dots between Ellen's famous Be Kind mantra and the harsh realities inside the Ellen machine. And here's the real kicker. Turns out, that daytime set wasn't some warm, fuzzy daycare. It was more like a high-pressure cooker, where employees were juggling insane deadlines, ratings, and production demands, all while trying to keep up appearances. And yeah, those stories about Ellen brushing off staff concerns, Yeah, let's just say they didn't exactly scream kindness.
And then otherwise you're going to fall back into the same pattern. And I think also
I'm
to
just
admit
like,
your
of
mistakes.
all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology.
Megyn Kelly even called Ellen out for something majorly ironic. Despite Ellen reportedly having hundreds of millions, and I'm talking 100 million at minimum, maybe even 450 million, according to Forbes, she still had the nerve to publicly claim she was run out of Hollywood. Megyn highlighted how Ellen was out here complaining about the double standards for most women in America, while living a life most people can only dream of. Kelly pointed out the irony, saying, "Look at Oprah, look at Obama. Are they hurting?" She suggested that Ellen was getting a pass not just because of her fame, but also because she's a lesbian, a leftist, and hadn't crossed any of the media's sacred cows. Brutal.
And she says, "Poor me." And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with $100 million in her pocket.
450 million, according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
But Kelly didn't just stop at Ellen herself. She also went after the media, calling out how the press often tiptoed around Ellen's controversies, choosing to protect the brand instead of actually challenging it. Kelly, on the other hand, shoved all those contradictions right into the spotlight, pulling the focus away from the perfectly polished TV smiles and onto the gritty, complicated human behind the curtain.
Well, I think everyone, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen. To get over it, you have to deal with resentment.
And honestly, this wasn't just about juicy scandal for scandal's sake. Kelly was on a mission to peel back the layers of celebrity branding and reveal what was really hiding underneath. So when you put Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly together, what do you get? You get a 1-2 punch. Part cultural commentary, part investigative deep dive, and all parts entertaining. Rogan's raw, skeptical takedown set the stage, challenging the narrative, while Kelly's sharp, fact-driven approach went after the corporate machine behind Ellen's smiling face. Together, they didn't just shake up Ellen's reputation, they blew the whole Be Kind empire wide open. Here's the thing. Neither Joe Rogan nor Megyn Kelly wanted a face-to-face fight with Ellen. Now, they were all about telling the story, breaking it down, and throwing just enough jabs to leave Ellen's shiny image looking a lot less perfect.
And I have to fight this, and it is true. You never forget that even though she has $450 million, I really do, and I mean this sincerely, the fact that she had to hold back that she was a lesbian for years, and ABC told me you couldn't come out. I mean, that frustration would create an anger and a resentment that I think is understandable for people.
And why does this even matter? Because it's not just about one celebrity's reputation taking a hit. It's how we, the public, eat up celebrity stories without question. Sometimes the truth, messy, awkward, even funny, needs to come out. It's a reminder that behind every polished Be Kind message, there might be something very different hiding. Joe and his crew even joked around, saying they recognized Ellen's old set just by looking at a random background shot. That moment wasn't just about being mean, it was about pulling back the curtain on a carefully staged act. Sure, the sparkle's real, but so are the smoke and mirrors. Together, Rogan and Kelly are like that brutally honest friend who tells you the hard truth when you're about to make a bad life choice. It stings, it shocks you, maybe it even makes you laugh, but you need to hear it.
Right, she was buddies with Bush. That was like
she's
one of the
a
first
CIA agent. Stephen Paddock. And do not ask me for sources, but Stephen Paddock.
Who's that?
He was the guy that shot up the Vegas concert. That was a very tragic thing. Listen to this. The only guy that saw Stephen Paddock alive, his name is Jesus Campos. He was a guard at Mandalay Bay. He got interviewed nowhere else. You know where he got interviewed in the beginning? Ellen.
Really?
Weird.
So what's next for Ellen's legacy? Well, her Be Kind crown definitely has some dents. And her fairy tale daytime kingdom? It's looking a little less perfect and a little more like a messy reality TV. Fans might start looking at those cute dance moves and big smiles with fresh skepticism. Here's the juicy part. Joe and Megyn didn't need Ellen to fight back for their points to land. There were no petty Twitter battles, no dramatic interviews, just sharp observations, deep dives, and fearless truth-telling. They pointed out how Ellen, a leftist who hasn't angered certain sacred cows, got away with more than others might. Joe and Megyn even talked about resentment, suggesting that to really move forward, Ellen would need to face her own bitterness and deal with whatever addictive patterns were lurking under the surface.
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show.
What was it like meeting Ellen? And is she a good person?
Let's just all go back to 2017 where I was the first person to call Ellen out before anyone else.
You called her out?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I called her out. I was like, Ellen's not that nice.
This was after you went on the show?
After I went on the show. And the world blew up about it and was like so mad at me about it. And then someone else said it. And then it was like, oh my God, Ellen's not nice. Oh, okay.
Why do you say she's not nice?
I can't explain it. It was just
an
really
energy?
weird. I ran into her like backstage. It was like an awkward thing. And like the producers were really scared. I was like, what's going on? They're like, that was not supposed to happen. We're going to get in trouble. It's like so weird. She was like, hey. It was like, I was like, oh, hi. Like, I was like, I'm so excited. And she was like, hey.
But here's the real punchline. This whole Rogan and Kelly double hit isn't just about Ellen. It's about cracking open the celebrity bubble, the one where stories either get worshipped or completely ignored. Think about it. You've got Joe Rogan, the king of counterculture, who's built his brand by letting all kinds of wild voices take the mic. And then you've got Megyn Kelly, the buttoned-up journalist who cuts right through the media spin. Together, they're shaking the celebrity world, one perfectly crafted persona at a time.
And then they went on, if you could find that clip, they went on with a weird like diagram of how it happened, and Ellen's like showing the people how it happened. Not like an emotional like how are you feeling, how are you holding up. It was a weird diagram of like, and then he went to the left and to the right. It was very strange to look. What the hell's going on? This is a daytime show.
Which is the Paddock guy? There's two guys there?
The chubbier guy is the Jesus guy. And now Ellen is doing a thing of how the shooting happened.
Look how she's got like an antenna from someone's Buick that she's popped off and she's using it as a pointer.
But why the hell is this happening on like a daytime show where this is weird.
Where'd she get that pointer?
I don't know. She stole it off an intern's car.
Why wouldn't you just use your finger? Like if that was you, if it was your show, the Tim Dillon show, wouldn't you just point?
Yeah.
This is also a giant screen behind her, so they could have just put it on that screen.
So, but she's using this thing. I find it very strange. I don't know why.
Wait a minute, those aren't real palm trees?
So picture this. Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly teaming up like this is like tossing a rock into a perfectly still pond. But instead of harmless ripples, you get full-blown tsunamis. Joe brings his signature skeptical energy, the kind his audience loves, always peeling back the layers, calling out the BS, and refusing to buy into the polished marketing vibe, even when it's wrapped in a choreographed dance or a sweet little Be Kind slogan. On the flip side, Megyn puts on her sharp journalist hat, digging through lawsuits, memos, and employee complaints, laying out the receipts on what's really going on behind Ellen's smiling TV face.
Yeah, she's allowed to do that because she's a woman, but if that was a man holding onto a woman's arm that long,
it'd be
be a real problem.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So weird, man.
And you're not ready for this next part. Apparently, Ellen wasn't just chummy with celebrities. She was famously seen joking around with George Bush, which raised eyebrows. But here's where things get even weirder. On Rogan's side, they started connecting dots to this wild fact. The only guy who reportedly saw Stephen Paddock, the biggest shooter alive, Jesus Campos, a Mandalay Bay guard, and guess where he did his first interview? Ellen. Yep, you heard that right, Ellen's show. And people found it so odd. Instead of asking how he was feeling or how he was coping, Ellen pulled out this strange diagram showing the left and right movements of how the event unfolded. People were like, what the hell is going on? This is a daytime show. It left everyone wondering, why, Ellen? Why there? Together, Joe and Megyn's voices created this powerful ripple through pop culture, shaking up the foundations of celebrity worship. And the big question became, how much of what we see is just PR smoke and mirrors? How authentic is the kindness we're fed by these huge entertainment figures? Suddenly, the old idea of celebrities as flawless icons started looking, well, a little outdated, maybe even a little naive. And this wasn't just Ellen's problem. This is part of a much bigger cultural shift. Fans are craving the real deal now. Imperfections, flaws and all. They want the stories that go behind the glossy surface. The growing wave of scrutiny cracks open the celebrity bubble, exposing the messy truth behind the polished public image. And honestly, it's fascinating. It makes us all stop and rethink how we idolize these personalities. Because let's be real, when a "Be Kind" slogan turns out to be more of a sales pitch than a lived truth, it stops feeling like inspiration. It starts feeling like just another PR product. People aren't here just to laugh or gasp anymore. They're here to think, to ask what authenticity even means in today's social media-driven, image-obsessed world. And here's what's so refreshing about all this. There was no dramatic Ellen meltdown, no storming off stage, no screaming Twitter wars. This whole exposure unfolded through sharp analysis, layered storytelling, and some seriously gutsy skepticism. It's a break from the recycled celebrity feuds we usually see. And honestly, it hits way harder. And the tea doesn't stop there. Rogan's side even joked about Ellen's fashion, saying she had an odd number of wrist buttons. The kind you'd only see if someone was used to inspecting clothes or, as they cheekily put it, had connections to Langley. Yeah, as in CIA-level vibes.
Yeah.
Like, that's an odd look with all those buttons. Like, why do you have so many wrist buttons?
It was given to her in Langley.
The only reason why you have that many wrist buttons if you're looking at clothesline somebody.
Yeah, look at her. Look at her. Everyone says she looks so friendly. She looks friendly.
She does look very military.
Yeah, she's a militant woman.
With a very expensive watch,
She
too.
dealt with a lot of discrimination when she came out. It was very sad, but then she joined the CIA.
Her house got broken into while she was at home.
Really?
Yeah. She got a dope place in Montecito.
And they broke in while she was there.
Yeah.
And those people are still being tortured to this day.
Probably.
They're still in an underground jail.
Yeah, she's feeding them to her staff.
They pointed out how Ellen, who had faced discrimination in her life, which was truly sad, later gained huge power and wealth. They claim she lived in this stunning Montecito home that even got broken into once while she was there. And they weren't shy about tossing in a dark joke, speculating that whoever broke in is probably still being tortured in some underground jail today. Instead of falling into messy drama or petty public spats, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly showed that you can totally expose contradictions and hold people accountable through sharp analysis alone. And honestly, that made the whole thing feel way more serious and thought-provoking, but still super entertaining to watch unfold. Looking ahead, this shakeup could spark some wild ripple effects. Fans who used to follow Ellen's every move without question, they might start looking twice at other celebs with those spotless, too-perfect reputations. Suddenly, the spotlight's shifting, focusing on the messy realities hiding behind all that polished branding. And let's be real, it's getting a lot harder for any Be Kind act to just fly under the radar without someone calling it out. This might even mark the start of a whole new chapter in celebrity culture, one where authenticity isn't just a trendy word, but something fans actually demand. Maybe that's why Ellen's nice empire feels a little shaky these days. People are tired of kindness as a costume. They want to see real, raw humanity. So the combined power of Joe's counterculture clout and Megyn's razor-sharp journalism? It's not just about dragging Ellen through the mud. It's a cultural wake-up call, a reset button for all of us who've been happily swallowing celebrity PR without a second thought. It's about asking for better stories, real people behind the masks, and a little less airbrush perfection on our screens. And honestly, that's way more satisfying than your average reality TV drama. They even joked about Ellen's whole woe is me act, saying, come on, of all people on earth, Ellen shouldn't be feeling sorry for herself. She could at least make a real apology. But instead, there's no apology, just a, I was run out of Hollywood. And seriously, Ellen saying that while standing on a Netflix stage, getting another $20 million paycheck? Yeah, she's doing just fine.
It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she's fine.
I'm sure she's fine.
At the end of the day, this whole saga is a reminder. In a world obsessed with polished images, the truth always finds a way to sneak out, sometimes thanks to unexpected allies like Joe and Megyn. And if Ellen's legacy takes a hit along the way, well, maybe that's exactly what needed to happen. Because if the price of progress is cracking open our favorite fairy tales and exposing the flaws beneath, then hey, bring on the roasting. Let the real stories finally shine through. So next time you see someone preaching kindness from a big stage or screen, take a pause and ask yourself, what's really going on behind that curtain? Because sometimes the brightest smiles are hiding the messiest secrets. And sometimes It takes bold voices like Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly to drag those secrets into the light. But what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on those post notifications, and follow us for more deep dives just like this. We'll see you in the next video.